Hello there, YouTube. This is Charlie Brawley again at you with another video. This video is called My 10 Reasons Why Roulette is the #1 money maker for 2019. If you've been keeping up with my videos, you know that I really talk about roulette from a financial business perspective and from a risk avertment or a risk reduction perspective. And to me, statistically, mathematically, given all the top things I'm about to tell you, I don't know of any other way to make money without the associated risk than anything that you can do in the world. I'm going now on 3 years, and it's a pretty good world to be in. But let me give you my top 10 reasons why roulette, if you take it serious in 2019, if you really are serious about it, I can't see why you can't retire in 2 years, honestly. But here's my top 10 reasons. So let's start with number 10. No employees or business overhead. Well, we've always been taught, if you're going to have a business, if you're going to be successful, you either need to have a business or you need to have a really good paying job. Well, both of those are really risky because in business, statistically, you have a upward 70% upward chance of failure within your first 4 years. So that's automatically a bad bet because not only is it's going to take all your money, but also 4 years of your life. That's the average. So it's funny how we're marketed, though, that you should start a business or you should do, and it's an admirable thing to do. But if you're all about trying to redeem your time and save money and make money in less time, then starting a business may be a really bad idea considering the amount of time and money that you're going to put in it. Also, given the variables that calculate your failure that you can't calculate. I'm going to get into that in just a second. But in roulette, you don't have employees, you don't have business overhead, you don't have taxes, accountants, and lawyers, and all this other stuff that you would have to have in a business setting that would affect your bottom line. If you are a employee, you don't have a boss, okay? You don't have a company that can tell you to get the hell on or to get out or to leave at any given moment, or you don't have to wait for 2 weeks to get a check. You don't have all those things that affect your bottom line. So that's my number 10 reasons. You don't have employee or business overhead or job overhead for that matter. Certainly you don't have the time cost that it takes to work a job, and the money that you get paid for the time is just, for the most part, not even worth it. All right. And by the way, there may be some spell checks in here. So one of the reasons I'm not an employee is because I can't spell anyway. All right. So let's go to reason number 10. Reason number 9. It's 100% recession proof, not based on market conditions. What that means is that it doesn't matter what happens to the market. The casino is going to be up. Roulette is going to be played. The reason why is because there's a lot of people who play it as a game. It's not a game, it's a financial system. It's a financial tool. It's owned by the banks. It's built off compound interest principles. It's built off the same way the stock market's built off. An index. That index is just display in form of a game. There's drinks, there's booze, there's women, there's all kind of stuff going on all at the same time. There's music, there's food. It's just presented to you differently, but it's ran the same way the banks are ran. What's cool about it is that it's 100% recession proof. But the reason why people lose so much at it because they take it as a game. Okay, it's marketed to you as a game, but it's a financial tool. It's a financial instrument ran by the banks and operated just like the banking world, like an index would. That's the whole point of permutations. Okay, when you really get this, if you become a mentor student of mine and you really get this, it's going to change your life. It's going to change your life forever. But anyway, not based on market conditions. So that means it doesn't matter if the stock market dropped. It doesn't matter if the price of gold or silver or whatever dropped. See, these are variables that affect your investment outcomes. If you can't calculate that drop, if you don't know when it's going to pick back up, you can't manage your life appropriately. You can't say what you're going to do in 2 weeks because you don't know. You don't have control. You always need to be in a position of control when it comes to money. If you don't have control over your money, you don't have control over your life. And then we wonder why we have so many problems. We don't have control because we don't know how to regain control. We don't know who's in control and why they're in control. Okay? And how do they keep control? All right? So roulette is one of those number 9 is recession proof. So if you master the game, you become a professional at this, like you can't be at anything. You master this, you're going to see that you can do this anytime you choose and get good and ready. All right. Let's see here. Number 8. You have access to making money 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and generally anywhere. You see, not roulette, you see casinos popping up in every city and state. The reason that is because there are a lot of fools. The reason that there's a lot of fools out there is because the cost of living is increasing, but not wages. The price of living, when you include taxes and different things like that, it's steadily increasing, but jobs and wages are not. So because of that, people are looking to supplement their income. What do? They go to the casino because they feel it gives them the best chance to make fast money. Why? Because they still have to go to work. They're just going to work for a lot less considering the prices of inflation. They don't see it. You'll see the prices. You don't see it directly. You'll see it in your food. You'll see it in your purchases. You'll see it in your taxes, your local and state taxes. You'll see it in small areas. But when you start to really calculate it, the price compared to your wherever your salary is, the price compared to that in terms of increase, your salary doesn't increase as much as most people. I'm not going to say yours particularly, but most people's salary doesn't increase that much. My whole point is that you have access to this money 24 hours a day. You're not limited to 8 hours at a job that has you on a cap. You can do this in the morning, noon, or night. All right. Some of the methods that I have that I teach in the bundle, particularly in the mentor program, you'll be able to, if you just sat there and waited for a couple of anomalies 2 or 3 times a day, you can make $1,000 a day. But you have to be devoted. You have to look at this as a professional. You have to be serious about it. All right. I know it's a game, and that's the reason why people don't take it that serious. They come to the game with $50 or $100, and then they lose it. Then they're mad. Well, you're gambling. That's supposed to happen when you gamble. You're coming into it very wrong in the beginning. Anyway, so you have all the access to it. So it's almost like an ATM when you know what you're doing and know how to play. Even on the flatbed system, the way I teach in the mentor program, even in some of the bundle stuff, maybe even on some of the stuff that you currently are doing. As long as you got a system, this thing is open for you 24 hours a day. Okay, so that's point number 8. Point number 7, you don't need prior experience or degree, and you can't be judged on your race, sex, and personality. You know, one of the reasons people have jobs is because they have a certain look. They have a certain influence. They're connected to this person, or maybe they went to this school or that school. Well, you're talking to a person who made it pretty far up in corporate, and I didn't have a degree. And I'm actually doing this from a very deep mathematical primitive perspective, and I never finished college. All right. And I can't be judged because I'm a black guy. I can't be judged because I'm a man. I can't be judged because of this, that, and the other. When you go to a certain job or whatever, people will judge you based on your sex, based on your race. You may do business with someone because you're white or you're black or whatever you are, people will judge you on that. That's going to affect your bottom line. But when you're dealing with the limitations and variables and numbers, there is no judgment on your race, your sex, your personality. There is no judgment on your resume. Okay? You only really have one life to live. I don't know how you want to live it. You know, I only want to live it one way. All right? So that's one of the reasons why I took such a stark route against what the system said you should be. When I really got into the banking world is really when I started to experience what the game was all about, which led me to where I'm at today. All right, so let's go to reason number 6. You'll never be judged because of weight, height, sex, or race. Well, I kind of alluded to that here, but reason number 7 was more about experience and degrees. You don't need college education. You don't need to be a systems engineer. You don't need prior. But here on 6 is really the key here. You'll never be judged because of your weight, sex, or race. Okay, I kind of alluded to that point earlier, but this won't be the case. It's all facts and numbers and figures. Okay, you don't have to guess, you don't have to hope or believe. All right, it's not based on those principles, it's based upon knowledge. Okay, and discipline and patience within yourself. If you got those things, you'll be successful at anything. But this has more reasons for your success than I know of anything. Just continue to watch the rest of the video. Let's go to number 5. You don't need thousands of dollars to start or maintain. The thing about the way that I would teach you, if you join the mentorship program, or if you're using any of the current bundle strategies, or if you have your own thing. So as long as you have a good strategy and you have a good way of implementing it, you don't need thousands of dollars to start like you would a business. The reason why you need it in business is because of the risk variables. You can't calculate. If you have certain risk variables like overhead, those are risk variables compared to your rate of return in terms of profit. But in a business, the reason you normally need a large supply of money is because there's a lot of risk variables that you can't calculate. So because of that, you need a line of credit to maintain your business, because sometimes your business may have peak seasons, which means you don't get customers all the time. Well, in this business, that's not the case. You don't need thousands of dollars and you don't need a line of credit. The way I would show you, you will be growing and compounding your money. Your money will be working for you. Not even like real estate. In real estate, you still have overhead. This is better. This is 100% cash. You're dealing with numbers now. All right. So you don't need this huge line or a whole lot of money to start or even maintain it. The business itself, your business, once you understand it, will maintain itself. Number 4. Make more money while spending less time earning it. The key to life is to make more and spend less time. If you have a business and you may have a great company you work for, if you're spending 40 plus hours a week, okay, you might be making money, but your life does not belong to you. Okay, so you make $1 million a year and still have $30 million of liability. Your life doesn't belong to you. Okay, because you don't have all those risk variables with race, sex, and connections and contracts, this, that, and the other, because you don't have all that lined out, it's a cash business, which means the more you make, and I'll show you how to make more and spend less time. It's never about spending more time. It's always about compounding your money and making more, but playing less. It's not about being a player. It's about being a banker. It's about taking money instead of sitting there trying to play. If you're wanting to play, you're on the street of what we call gambling. Unless you have the money, of course, to play longer. That's different. But if you don't have the money to play longer, my whole objective in life is not to be a player. My whole objective is to be on the beach. My objective is to spend a good time helping people, doing some good things, and seeing people well. That's my objective. So I'm not here to play at the casino. I'm just here to use this as an avenue to do the things I want to do. So that's my reason number 4. Make more, play less. Reason number 3, you actually can travel and have a lot of fun. I recently was in Santo Domingo, and there's a number of casinos actually out on the strip, and you could travel. The money that I literally made up the money that I spent flying there. I made it up that week in Santo Domingo. Not only did I make it up, but I flew first class. The first class ticket was like $800 and something. I paid for the ticket and the room. Room was about $105, $110 a night. All of that was paid for right at the casino. Okay, so listen, you could travel, have fun, because this business is not. It's not like this. It's not like you have to see it as a business because the banks see it as a business. They just present it to you as a game, when in fact everything's a game. Everything's risk and reward. It's just that how do you calculate it? Which brings me to number 2. Well, before I go to number 2, yeah, it's a lot of fun, guys. I have a lot of fun playing professionally and teaching others to play. And I have I mean, it's a lonely life for me because there's not many people who travel as much, but it's a fun life, great life, because you're certainly not limited to the things that you normally would do if you had a job. Which is why I tell folks to take it serious. Don't gamble. Don't gamble. Take it serious. Because if you take it serious, and let's say even if you join my mentor, and I'm not even doing this to promote the mentor program. This is my last video for this year, and I just wanted to give you reasons why, if you are part of what I'm doing or not, take it serious. Don't gamble, man. This is really a good avenue to free you. Seriously. So take it serious. It's a lot of fun in that. But my reason number 2, and I'm getting to 1, is the risk calculation for financial success is the lowest for increasing capital than anything long term. I had a debate with a guy who I think is going to be one of my students. We were talking about one of his friends who was a gold trader. As a matter of fact, one of my students is a 28-year day trader. But anyway, a 28-year trader, but he was and a lot of the principles that I teach are very good principles that you would use in the stock market. But the reason why the risk calculation is better here than the stock market, it's better for here than even real estate. Well, I didn't say real estate. Real estate's good if you have the money. It's just time, the time. And I think when you calculate time and your abilities to make money for the time saved, it's the best avenue for anything long term. Gold, I was talking to a friend who trades gold. Well, he says buddy was trading gold and he's had a lot of success. But the thing is that there are risk factors that could affect the pricing of gold or the trade of gold. And for how long a length of time will that be? Well, in this game, there is no factor like that. Like if you wanted to make whatever you made yesterday, there is no factor that's going to stop that. There's no factor that's going to stop it in the next 50 years either. So as long as it's up, there is zero factors that you can't calculate that hasn't already been calculated that's going to present a new anomaly. All right. So and in business, it's the reason why business has such a high failure rate. All right. It's the reason why that as you grow in business, as successful as you may grow, you have a deeper liability. Look at Facebook. Facebook has a huge liability, even though it's $1 billion company. Well, it sounds good that you're making all that money, but are you truly free? So when you're thinking about how to calculate risk in terms of time and money, you got to think about those things. Playing this game offers the best risk calculation ever. It's 36 variables. The thing is, they move at 45 seconds. That's time. When you're calculating the rate upon which you can acquire profit, you got to look at the time that it takes you to do it. Because based upon the time, there's this thing called a permutation or algorithm, which say you may not get a customer if it's moving that fast. Are you prepared to deal with the time it takes you to get it and the amount of time it takes for you to make up a loss if you didn't acquire a profit? Well, the acquisition of profit runs in time. In a business, the time includes a lot of overhead. You may be in business all day, not get a single customer, but you still have tremendous overhead you got to pay. You may not get a customer all week, but you still have to pay the overhead. That's a part of your risk cycle. But when you understand that, though, you're okay with it. It's the same thing in roulette. Same thing. Same process is that it just happens every 45 seconds. Because it happens so quickly and because the variables are only limited at 36, it gives you this thing called a permutation or a pattern. And when you study these patterns enough, you can start predicting it. If you look at other videos, you can see me predicting numbers. Truthfully, I'm not really predicting numbers. I'm basing it on the probability of how numbers run based upon the pattern of the game. Okay, so when you understand these principles, you can start moving in a really, really cool way and make them work for you. All right, so the last one, no income cap, make unlimited income. It's so serious. There is no cap. I always tell people, if you want to beat the game, it's not in playing the game. Because if you make one bet for $10 million and you won that bet, I'd be willing to say you beat the game. Because the objective for you shouldn't be to play the game. If you are swooning to the idea of playing to make money, then you have been sold by the casino industry and the banking industry. You have been marketed to, okay? You have been hoodwinked. You have been mentally manipulated. It's a game. You don't play listen, Tom Brady is one of my favorite quarterbacks because, of course, he has Bill Belichick. But he's one of my favorite quarterbacks. And he's played the game for a long time. But I guarantee you, he wouldn't be so apt to be at 41, 42 playing the game at that level if he didn't have a certain amount of protection. Okay? He hasn't gotten hit much. Reason he hadn't gotten hit much is because he have a great line. He has a great coaching staff that keeps him from being hurt. It's the reason why he has such a longevity in the game. Well, when you understand the variables, there is no cap. You can play, you can do this forever, and there is no cap. All right? Because all of the rules, all of the things have been thought about, and it actually works in your favor. The biggest thing my students always tell me is that their biggest problem is not winning, it's leaving. It's their biggest problem. All right? But when you get in a strict, regimented fashion with a good strategy, a good system that you can challenge. Like if you ever were one of my students, I always tell you, challenge me. Challenge it. Challenge. Because I got one for you. Challenge it. Okay? But when you really challenge it, I mean, really do it because it will make you money. Okay? So this is not a plug for my mentor program. If you figured it out on your own, go and listen to what I've said. Slow down. Compound your money. All right? And but have a good system in place. A lot of people think the game chases them when they're losing. You got to understand that when you sit down, the game has been playing hours and days and years before you came there. So you don't know where the game is in the primitive scale. Just because you sat down doesn't mean you can't lose. You have to be prepared for the losses. You have to be in business. You have to understand that not every customer walking through that door is going to buy. Okay? You may have to lose money that day. But the game itself works in your favor so much so that you always rebound. Always rebound. Quickly at that, matter of fact. If you really ever even go down. But you always rebound. Okay. All right, guys. So that was my whole 10 reasons roulette is the #1 money maker for 2019. I think we're moving into a higher day of consciousness and understanding. Jump on the train, guys, man. Catch a hold to this. This is revolutionary. And it's not just because it's coming from me. I think it's revolutionary, period. We're just living in a day where it just seems like wisdom and understanding to a degree is just really increasing. Catch hold to it and govern yourselves, and good luck. Have a Merry Christmas, and if I don't, which I don't think I'll do another video for the rest of the year, have a great new year, and I look forward to making 2019 the best year ever. Take care, guys. Happy New Year.